Hi there, TLC here, and today I am going to walk you through a Sagittarius themed treasure map to my truths art journaling process. So in this process, we are going to connect with a future version of ourselves and ask them to help us on a particular quest we might be on at the moment for our own internal truth. So if you are drawn to this idea, if you are interested in this, you'll know if this is for you or not. Before we get started, I invite you to grab your artsy materials. That includes our big ass sketchbook, a cup of tea, brew yourself a cup of tea to invite in the warmth and the self-love and support and inspiration that the warmth can provide us and help us to create an aged look for our treasure map so that it has an artifact-like feel, because this is the sign of exploration, of adventure, and of optimism. At least sometimes. You're also gonna wanna grab fun things to write with. So I've got my Sharpies, I got my paint pens, and a journal if it calls to you, and your tarot cards. I like the journal to reflect on any of the insights that come up for me. So pause the video real quick, grab those necessities, and I will see you in a second. So what we're gonna do to start this process is we are going to take our tea bag, and if it gets a little messy, you might want to have a towel with you as well. And we are going to set the intention that we are in fact creating an artifact that our higher self, a future version of ourself, is calling to us to share. And the only thing you want to make sure is that you don't pool water in one spot, because it will take forever to dry. So I'm just going to wipe that out here. Feel free to use a paintbrush as well for this part of the process. So yeah, the purpose of this exercise is for us to explore some of the symbols of Sagittarius season: truth-seeking, expansiveness, visions, philosophy, discernment, experimentation, exploration, and adventure. I figured a treasure map, what better thing to call us into our own sense of adventure than a treasure map? So once we're done with that, we're gonna let that dry. So I'll just put it to the side because you're gonna wanna grab your tarot cards. So just trusting that this version of yourself is with you. And just sloppily put that to the side for the moment and pull out my tarot cards. And feel free to write these questions down and to pause the video to explore them. So there are 3 questions. Answer these questions 3, will you please, future version of me? That for a rhyming intention. So I want you to first, you're going to pull a card that represents the gift, the treasure that your future self is pointing you towards. For number 2, I want you to pull a card that represents any obstacles that you could run into. So when we think of a treasure map, this might be a canyon or a dark forest, a volcano or a storm. For some of us, it could be a field of ghosts. But our cards will tell us that. And then for the 3rd question, third question you're going to want to ask is for a card that represents the journey. So this is going to be a card that represents what I like to call those dotted lines on the treasure map. Here's my original ones here. So go ahead and pause the video and pull those cards for yourself, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how I put the rest of this together. Okay, so once you've grabbed those cards, and I have done this a few times already, so, and I could test it out. Test out the thing where you pull the same card at the same time. I think I can remember some of these that came up for me though, because I've already got such a beautiful like spread come out with this. Yep, here they are. Okay. So when I did this guiding map here, the cards that I came up with were, this is actually the star card for the treasure that I'm seeking. So for that, I journaled on it. I love the concept that this is associated with the star card because there's something just about this like buoyant optimism that's connected with this card. But I decided symbolically to represent that on my map as a star point. And then for the obstacle, one of the cards I pulled a couple because, you know, can't have too many obstacles. I pulled the isolation card, the Woof, 3 of Swords. So on my map here, I decided to represent it symbolically as this little crystal palace. There's also lots of teardrops because there's tears in the card, and I wanted to make sure I represented the movement that water can have at melting and chipping away ice formations, which is also just water. And then the classic 3 of Swords heartbreak symbol. I also drew a cloud as a reminder to drop the cloud. And that came from another card I pulled for this particular one. And then the third card I pulled for this one was the 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Rainbows. And so I just kind of, in my map here, I gave myself little notes that I had journaled on. So take a few moments to write down some symbols, some ideas that you want to bring into your treasure map. And then at this point, your map should be dry. So you're going to want to come back to it. I have already pulled mine out of my messy notebook. But what we're going to want to do is grab something fun to write with. I like to start with pencil and then go over it with my Sharpies and more permanent things. So I want you to we're gonna first locate a place for the treasure. Now, this can be up top. Maybe we're moving up our page to it. This can be towards the bottom. This can be somewhere in the center. Maybe there's this like radiating set of paths that come off of one spot into the center. And there's multiple ways to get to your treasure. I don't know, it's your treasure. So for this one, I'm gonna just symbolically draw my star for you in the middle here. Ta-da! And then I'm gonna grab a starting point. So I think I'm gonna start right down here. And this one, I'm just gonna symbolize, come up with a symbol for your starting point. So I love to use the spiral. This one kind of looks like an eyeball, which, hey, I'll take it, that works as well. And then for my particular map on this one, I feel like I'm going to draw my path. And I'm gonna draw my path, in a spiral here. Why not? And And then along that way, I'm going to display the obstacles. So if one of my obstacles is a cloud, I might put that on here. Wherever you in this path, like wherever it makes sense for you to add something. So maybe I'll go a little further in my path and I'll run across. Oh no, the heartbreak. Oh. Painful but necessary. And then we get a little further in our path and maybe I've got some mountains. I got some mountains to climb for this particular part of it. There's like a little bridge I gotta get across. Whatever symbolically came up when you pulled those cards, whatever popped up to you that could come across as, oh yeah, there's obstacle there, wherever you want to place that on your map. And then from there on out, like I said, I'm going to use different colors. I might tie in colors that I pulled from the cards. I might tie in different visuals of that nature. Maybe I'll just go stock black and white and see what that does for me. But on the other end of it, I will end up with a pure treasure map here. And for this one, I actually pulled in some paint, pulled in some watercolor. So really, let yourself experiment with different art techniques. There's a lot of experimentation and intuition associated with Sagittarius that we can tap into this time of year. So really let the energy of the tools and the supplies that you already have at your disposal inspire you and guide you as to what you put down and come up with. And when I'm done with this kind of stuff, I also very carefully, I took some sage, some incense, and I just lightly seared the edges of this because I just wanted to be so extra and add in that little touch of playful fire that can sort of seal this into the artifact from my future self that it is. So when I'm done with this, I am actually hanging it on the wall. It is already hung on the wall. I had to pull it off the wall to show it to you, but I love it as a visual representation of the energy I'm moving into. And one of the things I realized that the word star is only like one letter difference from start, and I already have, you know, I am the T, I am TLC, so maybe I'm a little bit closer to this than I realized. You know, this future self version of you could be yourself 5 minutes into the future. I originally made this map 1 week ago, so this one could be me now, today, or moving into the next couple weeks of my life. So really let yourself sit with, when you're done with this, you know, how far in the future is this? Is this a moment-to-moment map? Is this something that's guiding you through the next 6 months, the next year? I am interested to hear. Drop in the comments what you got out of this. And if you liked this, well, hot dang, so did I. Let's do it again. Click the link in the description and we can stay connected. Until then, bye. Do, 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 do.